Okay, for the next lab exercise, we're going to extend our music player. So far, we have been using our music player to play only the songs that are already included in the resources raw folder. Of course, obviously, typical music players do not work this way. Instead, they would rather uh, work with the MP3 files that you have already included on your device. And then, so you should be easily able to add new songs to your music player, and the music player should automatically pick up the songs and then let you play those songs within the music player. Now, this is facilitated in Android by the use of a built-in content provider that is available in Android. So, in Android, whenever you add in any music or MP3 files um, to your device, the MediaStore content provider that is part of Android framework will periodically scan your device's storage to document all the files that are already all the audio files and also other multimedia files that are already included on the device's storage. Now we can then take the help of the MediaStore content provider. We can query it to ask for all the music files that are on the device, and then also get other information about the music files, including pointers or links to those music files, and then play them within our music player. So we are going to now enhance our music player application to make use of the MediaStore content provider that is part of the Android framework. So to begin with, is that with the 4.4.2 emulator, I've been experiencing problems in getting the MediaStore to work properly on the 4.4.2 emulator. I'm pretty sure that it works on the real device, but in the 4.4.2 emulator that is included within the ADT, it doesn't seem to be working. So what I have done is to instead fall back onto the 4.3 emulator. Now, in order to be able to make use of Android 4.3 emulator, what you need to do is to install the Android 4.3 support. Now, to do that, of course, open your SDK manager, and in Android 4.3, install the SDK platform and install the ARM systems image, and then also install, while you are at it, you might as well install the Google API. And in addition, also install the Google API for the 4.4.2 version of Android. We will be making use of them later on for another project. So while you're at it, you might as well install it on the machines in the library. We have in the lab we have already done this installation, so you don't need to worry about this. Okay, so after you have installed, I have already done the installation, so that's why you see them installed here. But you can go ahead and then install those 4 packages, and then after that, we will create a new Android virtual device. Now, in this case, I would just click on New and then select, in my case, I am using the name Jellybean, and then the device, I will still set it to Galaxy Nexus, and then, but in the target, I will use Android 4.3 rather than 4.2, and for the CPU, I'm just going to use ARM, and then go ahead. And for the SD card, make sure that you install an SD card of size 64 megabytes, because you will be including some of the MP3 files onto the simulated SD card of our device. And then after that, and then click on OK. In my case, I have already created the Jellybean AVD, so that's why it's complaining. But in your case, you would notice that this would be a new version that you'll be installing. After that, let's go ahead and start the Jellybean emulator. So as you realize, the emulator takes a little bit of time to get started. So while it is getting started, I'll move it into position, and we'll leave it to get started along the way. Now, while we leave it to that, let's go ahead and then make some changes to our code. First and foremost, we will be going into the playlist class, and then we are going to enhance the playlist class to make use of the MediaStore content provider. So how do we go about doing that? For the playlist class, what you would do is to use, in addition, whenever you are querying a content provider, you would need the use of a cursor. So we're going to be querying the database. So I need the help of a cursor adapter. So, okay, sorry, that's not where I should be typing this in. Inside my list activity, I would declare now, since I am changing my code, I want to be able to do some log. So I will just include a tag for my log, because as I change, I want to be able to show you how this whole thing works. Now, in addition, I'm going to include a simple cursor adapter. I need to make use of a simple cursor adapter within my code to be able to access and retrieve information from the database and then use it for my list view in my playlist activity. Okay, so I'm going to include that. In addition, within my code, now I am no longer using the string array, so I'm going to get rid of that string array. Okay, and in addition, I will make some more changes to the code here. I am going to move this item click listener into a separate listener by itself. So I will implement an on item click or on list item click listener. Okay, because this is a list activity, I need to implement that. So I would implement ListView view okay, so this is an item click listener that I'm going to implement. Oh, sorry, that should be inside my code there. So let me push it inside my activity definition, because that's where I need to make use of it. And then I am going to shift all this code into my list activity. Now, obviously, in there, I am going to handle that. So I'm going to remove this part because I don't need that anymore. So So obviously this is going to complain saying something is missing. That's okay. We're going to go ahead and fix that part a little bit later. So I'm going to get rid of some of these things that I don't need. Okay, so I'm going to just leave that code there. We'll come back to fix that code a little bit later. Let's go ahead and save that because we're going to come back to that later. Now this array adapter, that list adapter that I was using earlier, now I'm going to modify that list adapter to make use of the information that I'm going to retrieve from my database. So let me shift that around a little bit and then prepare the code so that I can insert the new code that I need for my application. So what I need to do is to be able to create a new adapter in this particular case. So we'll come back to that in a short while. Okay, so we have seen how I have modified this part of the code. Now for the list view, I need an adapter which supplies the items that I need to put into the list view. So earlier we were using this list adapter that we created here. So now what I'm going to do is to create the list adapter from querying the database, or rather the content provider, the MediaStore content provider, and then extracting information of all the songs that are on the device. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to replace this list adapter information, and I'm going to create a new adapter here. So remember, I have already declared the simple cursor adapter already. So I'm going to do new simple cursor adapter, and so I have to add the arguments to the simple cursor adapter, which includes the context and cursor string and integer values, which supplies the information that is required. So it's the second arguments that I'm going to supply. Now, what are the arguments that I need to give to my cursor adapter? Now, let me fill that in later. Now, once this adapter is ready, I would say set list adapter, and then M adapter. Now, I'm going to go ahead and change these comments. I would say create an empty, because I have changed the code, so I would say create an empty adapter to display the data that we sorry, frog in my throat, to display the data that we obtain from so we're going to obtain that content from the to be displayed in the list view. So I'm going to now specify how I will fill in this adapter. Now, when we need to fill in the information from the cursor adapter, the first parameter is the context, which in this case is this method. The second parameter is specifying where I am going to put this information in. So the second one is the layout that I need, and the third one is the cursor. The fourth one is from, and then the remaining ones that we're going to extract from the code. So this is the second item. The third item that I'm going to fill in is just follow along. I will create a string array with audio media dot, and I'm going to extract the title string for the song, and then also I will media and audio media, and the second string that I'm going to extract is the artist string. Okay, so these two are the items that I need from my simple cursor adapter. Now the third argument that I need to fill in is new int. Now I need to specify where these two items are going to be put in my list view, the list view layout. So the first one is the song list. I already have a text view there for the song list. So I am going to create, I need to include another text view in there. So I'm going to put that in there, and then we will go back and fix the text view to display this information appropriately. And then the last part, I just simply leave it as 0. Now this is complaining obviously that it's not properly working. So I need to go ahead and fix those values there. So first and foremost, this. The second one is the and the third string has to be left open, which is context, layout, the cursor. I will leave string from. That is the two elements from the string that I'm going to extract, and then where these are going to be displayed. So if you look at the information, the from is the list of column names from which you extract the data, and the to is the views into which two strings are going to be filled in. So those two parts I need to fix now. What this also means is that my playlist item layout has to be changed to accommodate both the title of the song and the artist. Now for the title, I already have one text view that I'm using in my playlist item. So let me open my playlist item and fix the layout of my playlist item to help me to display the two pieces of information that I need. Now earlier in my playlist item, I was using it as a linear layout. I'm going to change this to a relative layout because I'm going to do a few more changes to the layout to enable me to display the information in an interesting way. So I'm going to change the layout to a relative layout. So we go to the playlist item and the XML version, and then I'll change that to relative layout. And then I will set the layout width to fill parent, and then the layout height, I will set it to question mark. Oh, instead of doing it here, I will show you how we can change this in the code there. Now go back to the music player, and then for the relative layout, I am going to set the layout parameters. So I have already set the width to fill parent. For the height, I'm going to say Android, and if I put a question mark, it'll come in with some suggestions. Just go ahead from these suggestions, select Android and attribute and list item. Down below you will notice called list item. List preferred height. List preferred item height. So let's select that. Okay, so now, which means that my list view will have a certain standard size for it. Now, in addition, I'm going to include a couple of other things into my list view. I'm going to include an image view here, so that in the future, if I'm able to extract the album art from my MP3 file, I can fill that into this location. So as a placeholder, I'm going to make use of my note blue and then put in an image view into place there. So let me go to images and songs, and then I'll fetch an image view and then stick it into place here. And then I will use the note blue as my image view. Now obviously this image view is sitting to the right here, so I'm going to push this image view to the left and then stick it to the left side. So to do that, for my image view, I will first set the name of my image view to song thumbnail. Okay, and the layout parameters, I would set align parent left to true, align parent top to 2. Okay, let me update the reference to the song thumbnail, and then I will set align parent top to true, and then center horizontal to true. Okay, and then I will set the what else shall we set? I will set the width to 16 dp and then the height to 16 dp. Okay, sorry. Not this. That's not the ones that I want to update. For the margins, let me remove the margin, and then I will set for the image view max width to 16 dp and max height to 16 dp. Okay, so that and then the scale type, I will set it to fit XY. Okay, and so you will notice that the song thumbnail now is so layout parent left to true and layout
Alert from calendar.
Layout parent top to true. Layout align top. Okay. I am going to set the layout height for this. The layout height to match parent, and then the layout width, I'm just going to set that to 50 dp. Okay, now margins, I have removed the margins now, and so now you notice that I have this little thing up here. Now I am going to remove that alignment, and then in addition for my song thumbnail, I am going to align parent left and top to be true. Okay, so that's for my thumbnail. My song list, I am going to, since I am using relative layout, I am going to put the song list to the right of song thumbnail. So for my song list text view, I'm going to specify that it should be, okay, let me save the changes. So I have song thumbnail, and then this one I set it to the right of song thumbnail. And the layout width, I will set it to fill parent. Okay, so this should be song thumbnail with a small s. Let me shift my text view code below this one, and then look at the graphical layout. So now you see that these two are positioned appropriately. So sometimes you just have to fiddle around until you get it to properly synchronize around. Okay, and so the song name, and then I am going to add one more text view to this just below the song name, and then align it with the song name. This text view, I am going to call it as song artist. So I'm going to fill in the information in there as song artist, and then I will save that value, and then I would put it below song list. Okay, so with that I have positioned the song name and the text view just below that. I am going to set the text view's text size to be 12 SP, and the song name is 16 SP. So now I have enough space in my layout to be able to display both the song name and the song title. And continuing, let's put in some text for this text view. Currently it says text view. I'll just change that to artist name so that it's more clear to us what exactly that text view is supposed to contain. So with these changes, now the list view will look a little more interesting on the screen. Now after these changes, let's go ahead and save playlist item and then go back to the adapter. Now in the adapter, now we have seen the adapter value being set here, and then we will set the list adapter to MAdapter. In addition, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to query the MediaStore content provider in order to obtain the list of songs to fill into the list view. Now, to query a content provider, you would rather not do it on the main UI. As I explained in the class, doing content queries on the main UI will cause a lot of problems in terms of the UI freezing and so on. So fortunately, we have the help of Loader and CursorLoader in particular, which enables us to do the queries in the background. So I'm going to implement the CursorLoader and make use of it to conduct the queries for this particular example. So to implement a CursorLoader, I am going to here start. So we'll prepare the loader. To prepare a loader, we'll get hold of the loader manager, and then we will say init loader. And for the init loader, I need to supply 3 parameters. First parameter is 0. The second parameter is null. And the third parameter, I'm going to supply the loader callbacks. So to supply the loader callbacks, I should say loader manager loader callbacks. Okay, and the kind of callbacks that I'm going to supply is cursor. Okay, because we are doing a query on the loader, so we're going to supply the cursor loader callbacks as the cursor here. So once we do that, then obviously it'll ask me to import the cursor. Now, in addition, we need to implement the loader callbacks in this particular case. So I would go in and say implements loader manager, loader callbacks, and then cursor. So once I do that, it's obviously going to ask me to implement the unimplemented methods. So let me go ahead and implement the unimplemented methods. And then for any loader, you have 3 callback methods that you need to implement. First, on create loader, on load finished, and on loader reset. So in the on create loader method, we are going to implement the query that needs to be done on the MediaStore content provider. So to conduct a query, first of all, let me declare a projection that I am going to use to do the query. So to declare the projection, I would say static final string. So it's a string array, music summary projection, and that would be a new string array that I declare. And inside the string array, I'm going to declare all the parameters. So this would be MediaStore dot audio media dot, and then I need the ID column because I need to conduct the query on the ID column. In addition, I need and media, and then display name, this returns me the name of the music file, then MediaStore, and the next item that I need is title, and artist. Okay, so these are the 4 items that I want from my projection. So these 4 items would be sufficient enough for me to display in the list view. Now, inside my onCreate loader, I need to create the query, recreate the loader that is going to be conducting the query on the MediaStore content provider. So I'm going to put in some information here. This method will be called when a new loader needs to be created. Okay. In this particular case, we are using a single loader, so we don't care about the loader ID. But if your activity or fragment is associated with multiple loaders that you're going to use, then the loader ID will be returned in this particular case. Now the loader ID will be supplied in the init loader, that statement that we have seen earlier. The first parameter to the init loader here is the loader ID that needs to be supplied. So since we have put that as 0 because we only have one loader here, so I don't really care about the loader ID, so we are not going to explicitly take care of that. Now, so so in this particular case, we are just going to conduct the query through this particular method. So let me declare a few variables here. We need to do a selection, and then we're going to use a URI to specify the content provider, and then also we need a cursor loader that we need to create, and then return the cursor loader. So this cursor loader I'm going to return from this variable. Remember, I need to return a cursor loader, so I'm going to return the cursor loader in this particular case. So now inside here, once I initialize the cursor loader variable, then I will be able to return that. So that's why the complaint. So now let me set the base URI to MediaStore and then external content URI. Basically, the external content URI allows me to query the information on the external storage, which is the SD card. So that's why we make use of that URI. Now I'm going to create the cursor loader and return it so that this cursor loader will return a cursor which we then make use of to fill in my list view. Okay, because for my list view I need a cursor from which I can extract the information to fill in my list view. So that I'm going to put it in here, and then we will declare the select statement. For the select statement, now we have to make use of SQLite query information. So I'm going to do audio display name is not null, and so basically I am declaring the selection here, and in addition I want to make sure that media and display name is not an empty string, and what I want to make sure that is that this is a music file. Okay, so I will is music not equal to 0. Oops, sorry. This should be not equal to 0, and that's the query that I want to conduct. So basically meaning that the display name is not null, and it is a music file, and the display name is not empty. Okay, so we want to be able to return only those that match this particular requirement. So let me create the cursor loader. Cursor loader is equal to new cursor loader. For this, once I declare, I need to add the appropriate arguments to the cursor loader. So the first argument is this. The second argument is base URI, which I am using already declared there. And then the third argument that I'm going to provide is the projection that I have already declared. And then the next one is selection. Then the next one is null. And I want to be able to collate the music files as per the artist's name. So these are the parameters that I'm going to make use for my MediaStore cursor loader creation there, and then I'm going to return that as the cursor loader. Okay, so with this modification, now the cursor loader will be ready to execute the query. Now, when the query returns, when the query has been completed, so I'm going to first in here, in order for me to know that I am executing the items appropriately, so let me do a log here. Obviously, we want to know as the code is executing exactly where we are at any given point of time. So I will put in a log statement there. And then in addition, in the onload finished, what we need to do is swap the new cursor in. So the onload finished comes in with two arguments. The first argument is the loader that is coming in, and the second argument is the cursor that is coming in. So what I will do is to, again, I have this desire to keep logging so that I know that I have completed the load finishing, and then I would swap the cursor for my music adapter and then put in the data there. So that's one way. When the query has completed, the framework will call this method and then supply as parameter the cursor that is returned from the query. And then we are going to swap the cursor into my adapter that I'm using for the list view. So that way the item is properly displayed on the screen. So for the last item, what I'm going to do is to say when we are completed and then resetting the loader, we want to close the cursor. So we're going to release the cursor from the adapter. So to do that, I would say swap cursor null, and then that's it. So with these changes now, my playlist.java should be able to display the items in the in the list view. Okay, after we have made this change, let's go ahead and then test this code. In order to test the code, I need to make sure that my my emulator contains a few MP3 files. So to do that, I'll go to the DDMS perspective, select my emulator, and then look at the file explorer, and then check the storage and notice that I don't have any files in the storage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the SD card, and then I'm going to push a few music files onto my SD card. So how do you load MP3 files to your emulator? So make sure, first of all, when you're creating the emulator, make sure that your SD card is existing, and then the SD card has a sizable value, say for example 64 megabytes. After that, then you select your SD card, and then up here, right up here, you see this icon which says push a file onto the device. Let's select that file, and then I will go into my music folder and then select a few songs that I have and then push them on to the So I'm just going to push a few songs that I have just to show you how it works. And let me see. A few more songs. I'm selecting one or two songs which contain some album art so that I can show you a few additional features that we can implement for our music player. If you are fond of Kenny G, let's push one of those songs in there. I'm very fond of a couple of these songs, just for the fun of it. I'm just showing how it all works. And then, how can you forget Michael Jackson and Thriller? Let's push that. So again, it's up to you. If you have a few MP3 files, you can push it onto your emulator. If you have a real device, then you can, if you already have MP3 files on your real device, then it's just simple to go ahead and make use of them directly from there. Okay, I have pushed in 3 or 4 files. That should be good enough for me to show how it works. So after we do that, again, select the device, go to File Explorer, and then SD card, and then you can push a few files there. Let's go back to the Java perspective, and then fingers crossed, we should be able to see it working. But before you do that, on a real device, when you push MP3 files, the MediaStore content provider automatically scans the SD card at regular intervals and then constructs the MediaStore information into the MediaStore content provider. Now, for the emulator, you have to manually do that in practice. So to do that, go to DevTools, and under DevTools, you see this option called Media Provider. Click on that, and then you say Scan SD card, and then it should scan the SD card and have constructed the content provider and loaded in all the song information into the content provider. So now let's go ahead and test the music player to see. So now that we have made the changes, let's run the music player and then check how it works with respect to the playlist. So once the music player is deployed, then you would notice that the music player comes up, and then I click on the playlist, and then you would notice now that all the songs that I have put on the music player are now listed here. Now the next step is to ensure that when the user selects one of these songs, then the song is going to be played. So that will be the second part of this particular lab. So